Hi guys, welcome to Watkins Glen. Back in the 911 GT3R. It's a pretty solid GT3 car. It's limited a little bit on front grip, which means less loss of rear grip. But I like to mix up the car a little bit from week to week, but also trying not to give everybody too much of a challenge. We're here at Watkins Glen. It looks like iRacing have finally updated Watkins Glen track surface and some curbs, which is great. And honestly, my first impressions are the track is a lot grippier too, which obviously happened when they did the real world update, which must have been about 4 or 5 years ago now. Um, but anyway, let's do the hot lap. I'll try to read out the gears when I can, but obviously, as usual, pay attention to throttle in green and brake in red. That was second gear, turn one. Fourth gear in the bus stop. Still in fourth. Third gear in the laces. Second gear in the toe here. Second gear in the heel. Second gear. Fourth. Third gear for the final corner. And that's a high 45. Yeah, pretty much a 46. So, and we are on the high downforce endurance setup as well. So let's break it up into the corners. So turn one, important thing in turn one is to get a really solid exit out, which means really early throttle, because you're going to be full throttle from the exit all the way up to the bus stop. So think of that entire stretch as a straightaway. If you're slow out of here, you're slow on the straightaway. So I'm braking at the 200 board right here, and then I'm literally just turning in where a 0 board would be if there were one. So 200, 100, 0. Turn in there. And the goal is really to get turned as much as possible from turn in to apex, and then be full throttle at the apex. Use a little bit of curb, but not too much. But make sure you throttle up early enough so that you're on the exit curbs here. You can run a wheel off to the left and sometimes get away with it with iRacing, but if you're running consistently 4 wheels off the track on the exit here, then you probably should work on your driving a bit. You're just getting a bit too much of an unfair advantage. In a real racing series, they would penalize you for that. Turn 2, 3, 4 is all the way up the hill here, right, left, right, and it's all flat out. So turn 2, just turn in at the end of the curbs here, so that you don't apex too early down here. And then turn 3, see the end of the curbs here, start turning left as soon as you get to the end of those curbs. And that'll hopefully stop you apexing too soon here, so that you're not up against the wall there. The final part 4 here, it's easy as far as the line goes. Don't need any turning points there, you're just trying to minimize your wheel tire scrub by not turning too much. Bus stop, really tricky, but lots of fun. The new updates seem to be lower profile curbs, which is great. Got your brake markers here, 654, 300. you can brake almost as late as a 300. You're going to go down to 4th gear, and you basically want to take as much curbs as possible. So see here, taking all this curb, then just clipping this curb a little bit. Let's back up a second. So I come off the brakes, roll in. I'm rolling in all the way through here. Haven't touched the gas yet. I'm going to clip this one a little bit, but be careful with this one because basically this is what I would call Apex 2 and then Apex 3. It's pretty much like a reverse bus stop like Daytona. Your goal is to, in between these two apexes, get the car fully turn left and be back to full throttle. So if you hit this curb wrong and it bounces the car and pushes you out to the right and delays the turning left that the car's doing, then you're taking too much. But if you just kind of get on it a little bit and it doesn't upset the car, then you're good. But basically, back to full power in the middle and drive it all the way out, and you're right away into turn 5. This asphalt transition here is a good marker for maybe gauging your lift, although you can hold the throttle a bit longer there. That you're going to enter this corner, like just happened there. If you look at my input, you're going to enter this corner full throttle while you're still turning in, you're still holding on the gas. But eventually you're going to get understeer, right? Because you're going to just keep accelerating too fast. So at some point you have to lift. And again, lifting off the gas means the front's going to dive and it's going to give the front grip again. So you're going to basically drive almost to the point of understeer, lift, have understeer, and then wait for the front grip to come back and notice that the car, turns right a bit more, or I should say the universe, the world out here darts left a bit more because the car's rotating better. And as soon as the car rotates, so here's the understeer waiting. See the front grip in a little bit there. Let's back it up. So right after this lamppost, watch the car dive right a bit more. And that's the sign that the front's gripped up. There you go. And that's your cue to get back on the gas. A good measure for if you're driving this turn right and coming out fast is this lamppost. If you're probably going back to the gas at that lamppost, then you know you're getting a good exit. But if you go back to the gas before you felt the front dig in and turn right a bit more, then you're just driving the piss out of the front tires basically. You're probably going to get run out of road on the exit of the corner, because you haven't fixed the understeer. We haven't recovered from the understeer. Use a bit of curve on the exit, it's good. And then we're coming into the boot section. So this is laces. There is a little access road here. It's actually, I think, like a sewer cover on the right. It's not really an access road, but we can see it. We just can't see it in more than enough time. But we are braking a little bit before that, like 5 feet, 10 feet, and then turning in a couple of feet after it. And we're going to go down to 3rd gear. And because this corner is downhill, you should go in just fast enough that you just have a bit of understeer when you initially turn in. And it's a long corner, so you don't want to overslow as you turn in. You don't want to overslow there because you've still got a lot of turning still to do, a lot of corner to get around. So you definitely want to carry a little bit too much speed in so you have a bit of push, and then stay off the throttle and wait for the front to grip. And also the corner, probably 2/3 of the way around the corner, it stops going downhill and it kind of just picks up, almost flattens out a bit. When that happens, the front tires get a little bit more grip because they compress into the ground a bit, and that's the moment you should feel the front hook up, turn the car a bit, and that's also the same moment you want to go back to the gas. So look for the access road, brake just before it, turn in just after it, 3rd gear, have a bit of understeer all the way in, watch my inputs, waiting, and then see the front dig in a bit or the front grip return, and it's straight back to full throttle. The toe, you can pretty much brake where there would be a 150 board between the 200 and the 100. Turn in and just kind of turn in for the middle of the road. You don't want to be on this black patch here. You want to be in the middle. It's going to be 2nd gear, and you basically want to really late apex this corner. And that's because there's a big straightaway, or big enough straightaway after it. So you want to be able to stay out wide a little bit, get a lot of your turning done in the middle of the corner, and be back to throttle really early. If you early apex this corner and you go back to the throttle in the middle of the turn, then you're just going to have too much turning left to do on the exit, and you probably drop a wheel in the grass. So that's why we late apex the corner. So by the time we get in the second half of the corner, we've done most of our turning. So braking at the 150, down to second gear, middle of the road, and then let the car turn, and then full throttle in the middle, hopefully. Hopefully you can go, you got the car to turn so that you could go full throttle in the middle of the turn. And then good exit out. The number boards are hidden behind the barriers, which is super helpful. I'm sure iRacing will probably fix that. I can't quite, let's see where I am braking. Okay, so braking a little bit after this second one. And it's down to second gear. And the thing about this corner is it's a little bit downhill on the way in, so there's lots of understeer, but then also after the apex, the turn opens up. And so what often happens is you charge in here on the brakes, you turn in, and you're waiting for the car to turn. It doesn't turn very well, and that's partly because the track's going downhill. And then when you finally get it to turn and you go back to the gas, you come out of the corner and realize there's a ton of track still on the left of you. And you kind of just feel like, oh, I didn't really get a good exit there. So basically, there's not much front grip on the way in, and then there's a ton of grip and speed opportunity on the way out. So it's really easy to just brake a bit too late and overdrive in here, and by the time you've collected the car, you've missed the point at which you could have been early back to the gas. So try not to charge in here too deep, but brake just after the second sign, second gear, rotate. Think about the track opening up, and I really should get back on the gas early. Kiss that exit curb a bit, and that's the heel. And then this is, I think it's turn 9, because I think there's 11 corners here. This is a really tricky one. Let's watch it a couple of times because it's a double apex corner. So this is the first apex we can see, but we don't want to drive to it. We want to just turn in and find the middle of the road. And then the final apex is the one we want to get. Very blind here, very blind. But there's good opportunity to throttle up early, and I've almost emphasized how early you can get back on the gas there, because I even went a bit too early, but it was still massively soon. So basically what I always do is brake about 10-15 feet before the crest of the hill. So maybe use these grass shades here, or maybe don't, because they might not be there if your weather settings are a bit different. But you can see I'm braking somewhere about here, and it's more, I don't know, it's like 10 feet before the crest. But you try to get your braking done before the crest, so then you can come off the brakes as you go over the crest, because if you carry brakes over a crest, your front wheels are going to go over the crest first and they're going to lock up. If your front wheels lock up, they're not turning the car. So get the braking done before the top of the hill, before the crest, down to second, stay in the middle of the road, and basically you're waiting, you're leaving a car and a half width here, you're waiting to get around the corner a bit more so you can late apex this corner and get a full throttle exit out. So let's watch that without me pausing it. So come over the crest, and now we're just coasting, waiting. Late apex. I probably did throttle up a bit too soon, but you can see how much of a good exit you can get out of here. This corner, pretty straightforward. Turning in, I think, by the 100. Yeah, so turning in just before the 100, you can see my steering wheel starts to bend in a bit before the 100. And I don't have to lift until after I've turned in. So my lift is, me lifting just to drop the nose a bit, to give a bit more front grip if I need it. Look for the exit, because there's a bit of a crest on the exit, so you end up running out of a bit of grip by the second half of the corner. It feels great. Everything feels grippy on the way in. And then when you go back to the gas, you find out you run wide over the curbing there, and it can get a bit busy, because this curb will upset the car, you'll bobble a bit further wide, and you'll be coming back on the track as everyone else is braking for the final corner. End of the tire barriers here is a good brake marker. You can brake a tiny bit later than that. It's going to be third gear, and you're going to turn in. Good question, where are we going to turn in? Oh yeah, so we're going to turn in where this not access road, but where the asphalt gets a little bit wider, right at this point. That's where you're going to turn in. It's kind of a middle apex here. You don't want to apex too soon, because this curb is quite harsh, quite high. And the last thing you want to do in a turn like this is upset the car and miss the opportunity to throttle up. So brake a little bit after this tire barrier, turn in right at the moment that the track goes wide there, and then full throttle at the apex. Use all the exit road. I didn't even use much of the exit road. you can really get up to the wall here, since if you hit the wall, you don't have to pay for the damage, right? So look for the exit, 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 throttle, throttle. And that's a lap of Watkins Glen, so hopefully that didn't take too long. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys Tuesday night.